The URC teams picked up where they left off last season, delivering a very exciting first round of games. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. So we had 6 rather than 8 games in the opening round, simply because the South African teams, their first round games won't be played until later in the year. They do, though, come into the equation next round, next week. So having them in there certainly going to spice things up as well. So let's start with the Friday games. So the first game was Edinburgh 31, Leinster 33. So Edinburgh start off, pound away to line. Schoeman goes over to ground next to the posts, and then new fly half Thomas tags on the extra, 7-0 to them. Then a clever kick from Gibson Park just goes over the try line for a dropout, but a few phases later, Leinster manufacture space out wide. Ryan puts Tommy O'Brien over to score. Prendergast misses the touchline conversion, 7 points to 5. Then a loose ball, nudged on by Ryan's foot. Edinburgh go for an up and under. Charlie Tector claims it and then sells the dummy to Ali Price to go over to score his first try for Leinster. Great to see him, getting some game time as well. The guy, he's been a prospect for a while, so hopefully we see more of him this season. Prendergast as well, starting at 10, converts for 12 points to 7. Edinburgh then hit back not long after that, got penalty advantage. Leinster hold them at the edge of 22, but then Thompson, lovely dummy from him, and then basically dummy the kick and took 2 or 3 Leinster players out of it. They spin the ball wide, do hand to Van der Merwe, then finishes well. Not going to stop him from so close in with not much cover there. Conversion missed, 12 points all. Edinburgh then go to the corner. Leinster pinged for offside, and great kick from Thompson there as well. Gets him right into the corner from around about halfway. Go for the catch and drive. Cherry to Sykes at the back, and then Cherry is the score. Converted 19 points to 12. Leinster then battered away forward, back up to that Edinburgh line. Lovely hands from Tector to Prendergast, and then he puts the Larmour over to score. And then Prendergast converts, and we're squared up at 19 points all. Leinster's bonus point try then comes from move off the back of a scrum. Some really good go forward. Ringrose commits defenders. Then James Gibson Park snipes over. Lovely couple of fends as well, including one on Van der Merwe, converted for 26 points to 19. Then another kick over the top of that Edinburgh defence into the 22. That leads to a 5-metre attacking line out. Go to the maul, shift the point of attack, then Conan drives over to score. Prendergast converts for 33 points to 19, and some daylight between the teams. Leinster, though, don't score from there. Like, that was the 57th minute or something. So no score for them in the final quarter, and something that they've struggled with as well, last season too. But from here then, Edinburgh put the ball through the hands. They beat that Leinster drift and get it out to Duhan Van der Merwe, who goes over for his second try of the game and Edinburgh's bonus point try. Healy comes close to the touchline conversion, but it just drifts wide, 32 points to 24. Then Leinster, dummy throw from them at a line out where they were under no pressure. Edinburgh then strike from that. Ashman carries well, then Bellicott, nice pace from him, good evasive running, gets in behind, and then he puts Scott over to score. Healy converts, and it's 32 points to 31 in the end. So, really good performance from Edinburgh. Leinster avoiding defeat in their opening round. Last year they lost to Glasgow in the opening round. That was a real G up for Glasgow as well, getting that win. Leinster with a mixed bag in terms of the team that they picked. A lot of young players from the academy and stuff in there. So coming away with the win, definitely a good sign for them. Lots of experience to come back into the team. But then you worry about, are they going to get the balance right this year? Because they haven't in the last few years in terms of getting those young players game time, but also, making sure that there's enough experience out there to win the games that really count. Both teams, I thought, did really well. Edinburgh, the last few years, they've started the season well. Their problem has been at the back end of the season. So, good form now, but they got to keep that going all the way through so that they can actually make those playoffs this year and not miss out like they did last year. Next game then we have is Cardiff 22, Zebre 17. So Cardiff, first of all, ping for holding on early on, and then it's Montemaori lands a penalty for 3-0 to Zebre. Then some good work from Lilo. I thought he had an excellent game. Sheedy cross kicks to win it to score in the corner, converted for 7 points to 3. Then another penalty for Zebre, but this one goes, not even close to the post. Like it basically split, the field between the upright and the flag out on the touchline. So, not even close to getting another 3 points. Then more good work from Lilo. Sheedy then with a nice grubber, and his kicking game was so good. Grubber over the line. Stevens wins the race there, 12 points to 3. Then they get a penalty. They go to the corner. Thomas peels off the maul, and he gets their third try, 17 points to 3. McAnally then over from close range, in the second half for that bonus point try, 22 points to 3. And Cardiff looking so comfortable at this stage. But then, it starts kind of turning a little bit for Zebre. Lovely line from, who was it? Berticini, right? Cardiff just buying a dummy, and then he just runs onto the ball and just straight through and over to score. That's converted for 22 points to 10. Then clock is in the red, and Zebre goes to the corner, catch and drive from the line out. Locatelli goes over to score. That's converted for 22 points to 17. So Zebre getting a losing bonus point there. And something that we've seen from Zebre is that they've been competitive in their opening games for the last few seasons. A couple of seasons ago they almost beat Leinster from a similar situation, really, where they'd kicked into the corner and they just had to maybe drive it the way they did against Cardiff and get over for that win. This one, it was to get the losing bonus point, but still good reward for them because they didn't pick up that many. I think they picked up 15 points altogether last season, and they were just 1 point behind the Dragons as well. So, it's a decent start to the season for them, and you can definitely see them, turning over a few teams at home. Whether they're able to deliver that, the killer punch, as it were, to get the win is going to be, very important for them. There's no point in coming close in lots of games, but not getting your win. So, but looking good for them, I have to say. Cardiff last year, they looked like a team who, especially at the start of the season, had something about them. Lots of young players in there, and seem to be developing well. Kind of lost away a little bit towards the end of the season, but this is a decent start for them. They won't be happy with the fact that they kind of took their foot off the gas and let Zebre back into the game. Do that against a better team, and from what was a very winning position, 22 points to 3, they could have lost the game. So that's something for them to certainly take some lessons from as well going forward, is that you gotta keep going. You can't take the foot off the throat. And young players, they've got a mix of experience in there as well that's going to guide them through, but they have to learn to just keep going and try to keep piling on the points as well. But a decent game overall. Next then, Dragons 23, Ospreys 21. So Ospreys not retreating from a kick. Evans puts Dragons ahead from the tee. Dragons then off feet, so Edwards squares it up for Ospreys. Ospreys then, they move it quickly from a line out, and round about halfway, Morgan goes through a hole, and then he puts Kieran Williams over to score, converted for 10 points to 3. Nice move there. They obviously identified space and they attacked it. Ospreys then holding on, and Evans slots another penalty. Then some good work from Dyer and Owens out wide. Then a lovely offload. I can't remember who it was from. Definitely from one of the second rows, and it puts Keddy over to score. Dragons now leading 13 points to 10. Edwards then, his penalty makes it honours even, and then another penalty from him just before the break, and Ospreys are actually leading at halftime, 16 points to 13. Then into the second half, Walsh slips a tackle. Then he puts Comber over to score. and Ospreys stretching that lead. Poor defence, honestly, from Dragons there. You know, the tackle really should have been made on Walsh, and should have really killed that. Then Benjamin goes to bin for Dragons, and at that stage you're thinking it's all over, like they're done. You're expecting Ospreys, to at least get another try and then stretch away, but that doesn't happen. Evans strokes over a penalty to make it 21 points to 16. Dragons with a glimmer of a chance now, and then they're battering away at the line. The clock is 3 minutes and more into the red, and then Yendel drives over under the post. Evans' conversion then seals the win, 23 points to 21. And, really good from the Dragons, honestly, because Ospreys, obviously, the best Welsh team last year. They made it to the playoffs and looked, they did really taking a step forward. Dragons last year, honestly, for the most part, very poor. And I was kind of questioning, where they were going under Di Flanagan as well. They had, they were down the bottoms for so long, battling out with Zebre to avoid the wooden spoon there. But this one, they were down, but they came back. And I talked about when we did the preview that we had to see more from the Dragons this year in terms of being able to get a bit of dog and to actually compete in games as well. There were so many games where they were off the pace last year, but this is a great start to the season for them. Ospreys, some good stuff from them, but and having lost the lead as well, they're going to be disappointed with that. They need to bounce back now and get themselves, a win on the board, because what you don't want to happen at the start of the season is, especially after the season they had last year, is to go on a losing run, and then all the confidence that they had from last year maybe starts to ebb away as well. They start to question what they're doing. But really good win from the Dragons there. Next then, Munster 35, Connacht 33. So Ben Murphy, who moved from Leinster, to get game time at Connacht, and he steps Casey when they're attacking off the back of a scrum, finds Bolton on the touchline. He's passed it back inside to Ioane, who goes over to score. Conversion missed, 5 points to 0, Connacht leading. Connacht then come forward again. Amazing offloading and hands from Hansen and Ioane, and that puts Murphy over to score. And I have to say, Murphy did really well to juggle with the ball and hold on to it. Initially, they said, it was no try because they felt that Ioane maybe knocked it forward, but team overview confirmed it was all good, 12 points to 0. Cordero then gets a yellow card. Head-on-head with Casey, mitigation due to a step from Casey, and I thought that was pretty fair. Munster strikes straight away. Nankivell rides a soft tackle from Conor Oliver and goes over to score under the post. Billy Burns tags on the extras, 12 points to 7. And then, Munster really pressing their advantage from here. Then Burns does well to keep the ball alive. Onto Hodnett, who offloads from the deck to Haley, twists and turns and goes over to score. And then the conversion then puts Munster ahead, 14 points to 12. Connacht, though, they come back from here. Ioane breaks the line, puts Murphy over to score, and then Ford converts, 19 points to 14. And Connacht then back to 15 now, as the yellow card period is over. Munster then into the second half, go to the corner, Mala close to the line, then Barron breaks off. He goes close, recycling. Hodnett is over to score. Burns again adds on the extras, and Munster just edge ahead, 21 points to 19. Connacht then, they collect the ball from a goal line dropout, spread it. Heffernan offloads to Hawkshaw. He shows good pace, nice elusive running as well to get over to score. Ioane puts on the extras, 26 points to 21. Munster then, free kick from a scrum. Casey taps and goes quickly. He's always on the ball in those situations. And they go out wide then to Daly. He steps back inside, and then Coombs barges over to score, 28 points to 26. Blade then, he's on at 9 for Murphy, who had an excellent game for Connacht. Takes advantage, takes it from the base of a scrum, feeds it forward, who barges his way over to score. Ioane converts, and it's 33 points to 28. Looks like Connacht, heading for a really good win here. But then Munster work it back up to that Connacht line, win penalty advantage to go wide. Nankivell keeps it going, and then Daly over to score. Then Butler, on a 10, nails the conversion as well to make it 33 points or 35 points to 33. This one, if I had ended in a draw, I don't think anyone would have complained because both teams were so good. Munster, though, lots of errors in the handling. Connacht definitely looked the slicker of the two teams, and we want to see more of this in Connacht this year as well. They stuck in the game, and also they looked like they had purpose. There was more zip to the game as well. Munster just doing enough to win, but there's plenty of work-ons for Munster as well. But in terms of performance, I think Munster are going to be happy with the win. Connacht going to be happy overall, though, with their performance. Next then is the Benneton versus Scarlets game. So it's Benneton 20, Scarlets 20. So Fafita, first of all, he breaks for Scarlet, and Blair Murphy finishes the move off, but it gets chalked off after TMO review. Then Benneton come forward, Rotave scoring in the corner. Basically, they were camped on the line on the right hand side of the pitch. They move it to the left, and Scarlets just run out of defenders because they got sucked in, defending the line. And he's over to score. Then Umaga offloads to put Ryan Smith over for their second try. And then after that, then Scarlets hit back. Page picks his way through the Benneton defence to score just on the stroke of half-time as well, 12-7 at the break. Then another Scarlets try chalked off at the start of the second half after TMO review. Then have Umaga's penalty stretches the lead for Benneton to 15 points to 7. Taylor then makes a break off a 5-metre maul to score. Initially, it's given as held up, but it's reviewed and the try is good. Conversion makes it a 1-point game at 15 points to 14. Scarlets then, the maul been excellent in the game, wins them a penalty. Lloyd puts them in front from the tee, 70 points to 15. Then we have a great snipe from Davis from a scrum, gets tackled high. Lloyd then lands a penalty from a very difficult angle for 20 points to 15. Then 2 minutes to go, Benton spread it. They're a few meters out from the line, and then Rotave does really well to finish in the corner. Very strong finish from him. Conversions misses 20 points all, but I think both teams deserve something out of the game. Anyway, pretty entertaining game. Benneton, they had a few draws last year as well. They definitely have the draw in the first few rounds. I remember that. I think it was against Munster, right? And looking good at the start. Probably would have targeted this game as a win given where both teams finished last year. But Scarlets, honestly, they had a lot more dog in this game at least than they did last year. They still had, those silky skills that we've seen from them and the ability to score really good tries and make space as well. But they got a maul try, and also their maul came up and got them a penalty as well. So you can see that they've worked on certain aspects of the game, in the off season, and at least this game has paid dividends. Whether it happens in the long run, that's another story. Benneton, you would expect them to be there and thereabouts for the playoffs this year. That they're such a good team, and they've improved year on year as well. So Scarlets, I think that's a decent draw for them to go over there and get that. And Scarlets definitely a lot to improve on from last year. Next time we have Ulster 20 and the defending champions Glasgow 19. So first off, Glasgow get a penalty into the corner, go to that absolutely lethal maul, and who is it? Johnny Matthews, top try scorer from last year, is the scorer. Conversions misses 5 points to 0. But that that Glasgow maul is so good, and there's so many variations, and it's slick every time as well. So it's very hard for teams to defend against. And I think that's a big difference between Glasgow versus, like, you know, you had Ulster a few seasons ago where Tom Stewart was the top try scorer, but you know, now Ulster in rebuilding phase, their maul really not that good. And then you have the likes of Sheehan and Leinster as well. But the difference, I think, is that Glasgow's mauls make tries for Johnny Matthews, and Johnny Matthews absolutely, you know, adds that as well. But kind of for Leinster, it's more that Sheehan makes tries out of, you know, not necessarily brilliant mauls by Leinster, but he has that ability to get over and finish as well. I think that's really the difference, is that the Glasgow maul is a really good set piece, whereas the Leinster one is average at best, I would say, at the minute. And then, you know, Sheehan, when he's there, obviously he's injured at the minute, but when he's there, he has that ability to finish. But for Glasgow, they just put Matthews in the box seat, and some of the times he will break off and get over to score, but a lot of the time, you know, they're able to drive over and get him to score there as well. So there's going to be plenty more tries for him this year, because, you know, that maul, a lot of teams are going to struggle against it. Next then, also go wide to Lowry, get held up over the line. So we come back for a penalty. Doak slots it 5 points to 3. Glasgow then come back on the attack, and, you know, right about midfield, and then Ulster's new fly half Morgan, he charges it down, charges down a kick, then hacks the ball ahead. He gets caught about 5 meters short of the line, and Glasgow initially, you know, decent scramble from them, but a couple of phases, Ulster moving the ball quickly for probably the first time in the game, and then Morgan burrows over to score, converted for 10 points to 5. And, you know, Ulster just in that little bit there, so much sharper than they were any other time in the game up to that point. Glasgow then, you know, the champions, they hit back almost straight away, go to the corner from a penalty, looking to go to that maul again, but Darge kind of unbalanced at the back. He breaks off, but not to be denied. Good play from Dobie, and then Venter crashes over to score. Jordan makes 12 points to 10 with the extras. Ulster then work it back up to the line. You have McCormick, McCann and Izuchuku all carrying well. Then Harry Sheridan goes close before McCann, another involvement from him, he stretches over and grounds. Morgan absolutely scuffs the conversion. Basically, like, it just went along the ground, you know, maybe like 5, no, not even 5 meters, maybe 2 or 3 meters off the ground, like never even threatening going over the bar really, and it was wide too. But 15 points to 12, Ulster lead at that stage. Glasgow, they got a man in the bin. Had actually 2 men in the bin at one stage, but when they're restored to 14 after the second yellow card is done, they just tear the Ulster defence to pieces. Stain, Darge and Ferry all combining well out in the tram lines. Stain then over to score and puts, you know, the champions back in front. Conversion makes us 19 points to 15. Then we go through, like, Ulster just go through unbelievable amount of phases at the end. Darge almost gets his hands on the ball in the shadow of the post, but he's denied. And then Ulster go for the line. Sheridan sneaks under the Glasgow defenders to ground on the line for the game-winning try. But then we do actually have a TMO check to make sure it's good, but it is actually good. Drama right at the death. And then Ulster as well actually missed the conversion. I don't know how they did, because like it was fairly straight, so you would have expected, but still 20 points to 19. You know, Ulster, they're still rebuilding. They're going to be up and down through the season, but this is a brilliant win for them. Glasgow, honestly, I don't know how they didn't win though, because certainly of the two teams performed much better, and you know they just didn't have. I'm not going to say like they weren't ruthless enough, because that sounds like they had tons of chances to, you know, to score and blew them. It wasn't that case. It was like when they got the chances, for the most part, they scored. I think Ulster kept them out at one point, but shortly after, like, Glasgow actually came straight back and scored anyway. I think it was from the dropout or whatever. So not that they missed tons of chances, just the fact that they had so much territory and possession that they didn't really create enough chances, even though they stretched that Ulster defence all night long as well. So they'll be disappointed with the defeat. But you can see, like, as I said, the line-out's going well, the scrum went well, the maul, as always, was excellent as well for them. On attack, they look good, so Glasgow definitely, going to be up there again. I think certainly in this period of the season, if they continue that form on, they're going to start picking up wins and picking up more points as well. Ulster, as I said, are probably going to be a bit more up and down, given that, one, they've got a bunch of players going on the Emerging Ireland tour, but also the fact that they're still, trying to bed in with the new coach. And when that happens, it's not going to be a completely upwards curve for them. So, but this, brilliant win for them. So that is the first round of games. We won't have a look at the table because not even all the teams have played yet. So there's no point in really looking at it until we've got 2 rounds under our belts. But if you want to, I have, longer reviews of the 3 games that involve the Irish provinces, so Edinburgh, Leinster, Munster and Connacht, and that Ulster Glasgow game as well. So if you haven't seen those, maybe go and check those out when you get a chance. Later on in the week, we're going to do a preview of the next round of games as well. We're going to have the South African teams coming on board too, so that's going to be really exciting, especially with all that guff that was going on, especially in the English press and on the BBC too, about a British and Irish league and this, that, and the other. Like for me, the South African teams joining has been one of the absolute best things that's happened to this league. They've just driven standards so much higher than they've been before, and that's why we got such a competitive league last year, was because the other teams realized, hang on, we've got to step it up now. And you saw a lot of teams responding to that. A lot of the Irish provinces responding to it, both of the Scottish teams responding, Benneton, Ospreys as well. So hugely competitive last season, and expecting it to be the same again this year as well. So I can't wait for that second round of games. But for now, that's it for me. If you wouldn't mind, maybe hit that like button and maybe post a comment, because, having come back, I now need to build the audience up again, having taken a break for a couple of months. So anything that feeds the algorithm gods is good, right? But if you feel like it, do it. If not, that's fine too. But I'll see you guys on the next one.